morning everyone, this is Bremster and today I'm coming to you with two puzzles from Ashish Kumar's Enthralling Sudoku Patreon. And I really wish to thank Ashish Kumar for giving me permission to do these puzzles. So I'm going to be coming to you with Classic Sudoku 13 from March 2022 and Rossini Sudoku number 1 from March 2022. So the way Ashish does his Patreon, and I'll provide a link to that above, as well as below in the description, is every month he will send out a bunch of puzzles. He will send out, I think it's 25 classics. It could be 30. I've kind of forgotten. I just open the pack, grab the next one and do them. So I just lose track of how many there are. And he sends out, I think it's also 30 variant Sudokus. And some months he also sends out some extra fun packs or some advanced classics. And these are puzzles that you get if you pay $5 a month for his Patreon. And are really, really worth it. They are always fun puzzles. They are moderately approachable. They teach you incredibly good skills. They are never diabolically hard puzzles, although some of them I find quite challenging. And they are always interesting variants, things that you, some of them will be standard variants like Thermo and Killer, but sometimes you will come across things that you may have not seen before, like the Rossini one that's over there. And I've not done a Rossini one like this before. I've never seen it before, so I'm looking forward to giving it a try. But I highly recommend that you check out Ashish's Patreon, as well as his YouTube channel, where he and Kishore solve puzzles. They mostly do classic Sudokus recently, but they do a lot of variant Sudokus as well, and they are excellent solvers who will teach you a lot of Sudoku techniques. So again, above I will throw, and below, I will throw a link to their Unshackling Sudokus and Puzzles YouTube channel, which I highly recommend you check out. Before I get on to Ashish's puzzles, and as I said, I cannot thank him enough for giving me permission to do paid content. I'm going to hopefully do 2 of his paid puzzles every month. That is very generous of him considering they are paid content, but I really want to show them to you so that you may be inspired to go and pay for the rest of them because they are so good. Before I do those, I also want to call out that I'm recording so far in advance. I've only just got to the point where I now have all of the submissions from people who have completed March of the Quads. Yeah, I am recording that far in advance at the moment. Because so the people who submitted in April and got correct completion codes into me, and some of these are duplicates who also submitted some of the answers in March. Andrew Monteleone, I'm going to butcher this one, Silverson Bianca, Albert Lowell, Tim Matthews, Mark Henkel, Suzanne Roos, Shannon Lazelle, Scott Bathurst, Mule Creek, and Wesley Leong. So those are the people who continued to solve puzzles and submitted answers. I did get a couple of people who told me after the deadline that they weren't sure that they could still submit answers. I thought I was pretty clear on that one. I will provide a link to March of the Quads as well. The pack is amazing. The feedback we got, not just from these people, but from other people who did the pack but didn't submit answers, was just over the top. We learned a lot by setting these quadruple puzzles, and we're actually working heavily on the next pack now, and I will give you a bit of a sneak preview, well, because it'll be hopefully coming to you within the next week to 10 days. We're working on a thing that I'm inaccurately calling polarizing Sudoku, which is going to be a pack of odd even puzzles. And we're currently at about 20 puzzles and we're still creating. Not all of those have been fully tested, but a chunk of them have been, and it'll run over a couple of months. So we're doing a similar thing to March of the Quads, where there will be walks in the park, scenic hikes, and treks into the wilderness. And some of the walks in the park are just a lot of fun. Some of the treks are also a lot of fun, but oh my lord, they're hard. So we're exploring a lot of the odd even constraint, and it's been a lot of fun. So hopefully you'll enjoy that when it comes out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause the video, and then I'm going to do the magic of editing and cut over to attempt Classic Sudoku 13 from March 2022 by Ashish Kumar. Okay, so this is classic Sudoku number 13. The rules on this one are quite simple. In every box, in every row, and in every column, the digits 1 to 9 must be placed without repetition. That's it. Let's give this a shot. I know nothing about this puzzle. That's the way we like it. 9 must go in one of those two cells. 3 must go exactly there. 9 must go exactly there, which places that 9. Actually, I'm going to, because I don't have killer cages, I am going to switch back to large digits. Okay. 6 is in one of those two cells. 5 can't go in either of those, so 5 is in one of those two. I'm just going through looking for places where digits can only go in two boxes. I should possibly be more methodical about this, but... So 2 can't go in there, so 2 has to go in one of those two, which puts 2 in one of those two. What about this column? Not sure. 1 is in one of those two, but I'm not sure about that either. That's a 1-7 pair. So 1 and 7 can't go in that. So there's 5 empty cells in that row. 1-7 needs to go in the row. They can't go in those two, and there's a 1-7 looking there. That is a 1-7 pair. And this is the sort of scanning stuff that doing Ashish's puzzle has made me a lot better at. Though, according to the comments on some of my other videos, not as good as I should be. And there'll be another one of these that I miss in this puzzle, almost guaranteed. Just because I just mentioned that. So what are these? This is now a triple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So these are 2, 4, and 5. That's not 5. That's not 5. So this is now the 5. This is not the 5. So now 5 is in one of those. But this is a 2, 4 pair. So this is a quadruple. 2, 3, 4, and 8. So 2 is in one of those. Nine is in one of those two. So 4 and 6 have to go in those three cells. But I don't quite have the same pressure. 6 can't go there, but 4 can go in any of them. Hang on. I need to put 3, 4, and 6 into those cells, but 3, 4, and 6 can't go in those. That is 3, 4, and 6, so that becomes the 9. And that's because 3, 4, and 6 in the box. I actually saw those threes looking up, but 3, 4, and 6 can't go in those, so they had to go there. This is a pair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 8, 9, and we know the order. That is the 8, that is the 9. That is not the 6. So these are 1, 2, and 7. So we've got 1, 2, and I think 7 can go in any of them. 9, 9. So this is a quad as well. 1, 2, 3, 7, and 8. So that's 3 and that's 3 because it's C because we need 2, 3, 7, and 8, and it C's 2, 8, and 7. That's 3. That is not 3. 3 is in those, of course, now. So this is 2, 7, and 8. There's no 7 there. 2, 8. possible I'm trying to be too clever in my scanning. I can't tell if this is flickering again. I've just completely recreated my OBS setup in order to try and get rid of the flickering according to some tech guides. And I don't know if it's done anything. 1, 4, 5, and 7 in this column. That's 1, 4, 5. 1, 4, 6, and 7 in this column. So that's 4 or 6. So that's given us a 4, 6 pair. So it's 1, 4, 6, and 7 in this column. And now I've got a 4, 6 pair. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 8 go in there. And we know the order because of that 8. That's 5 and that's 8. 5, 5, 5 now has to go in one of those two. It's not giving up. So these are 1, 4, 6, and 7. That's not 7. It's not, pardon me, that's not 6. 7 has to go in one of those two, which puts 7 in one of those two. So these are 1, 2, 7, and 8. So that's 1 or 8. That's 7 or 8. So now we've got a 1, 7, 8 triple. So there's no 1 there. These are 4, 5, and 6. That's not 5. Three is up here. So 3 has to be in there and in there. That is a 3. Because 3 in this column can't go in those cells because it's seen by those 3s, and that's a given. And 3 is seen by those, that's a 9, so 3 can't go in those. 3 can't go there because of that 3, and that's a 7. That has to be the 3 in the column. This is now a quadruple. 2, 4, 6, and 8. So all of the even digits. That can't be 8. That's not that helpful. Why have I got such a runny nose? Four, 6, 7, and 8. So this is 4 and this is 4 and this is 4 and 8 because this is 4, 6, 7, 8 in this row. That's 4 and 8. This is 2, 4, 8. So this is 2, 4, 7. No, it's not. It's 4, 6, 7, and 8. So it's 4, 6, 7. Okay. I'll try and finish this puzzle before this migraine hits me. This is a 1, 2, 7 triple. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8. So these are 4, 5, and 8. That's not an 8. So this is a 4, 5, 6 triple. This is an 8. This is not an 8. So 8 has to go down here now. There's some tricky pointing stuff in this puzzle. 1, 4, 5, and 7 in here. Yeah, I'm not sure. So these 8 now has to go in here, but I already had that. These are 1, 2, and 7. 2, 4, 1, 7. As a scanning exercise, I am definitely failing at this one. 3 has to go in. 3 is right there. 3 has to go. 3, yeah, 3s are just looking at that box. Can I do more with 3s? I think I've now got 3s down to that. So this is a 3. So what have I... So I need to put a 2 into those, I think. 2 can't go in either of those because of the 2-4 pair. 2 can't go in either of those. 2 can't go there. 2 has to go in one of those. 2 has to go in one of those. 2s are lining up in those boxes. Neither of those can be 2. This is a 2-3 pair. That's very odd. That's a 2-3 pair. So 1, 4, 5, and 7. So these are all from 1, 4, 5, and 7. That can't be 1 or 7. So now we've got a 4, 5 pair. I can take 4 out of there. I can take 4, 5 out of there. This is 1, 2, 7. This has to be 4 or 5. This is 4 or 5. Oh, did that not do more? That hidden 2, 3 pair? One now has to go in one of those 2 cells. 4, 5 is... This is a 1, 5 pair. 1, 5, 1, 5, and this is 2, 3. So this is a 1, 5 pair, which also doesn't seem to do anything. So these are 4, 6, 7, and 8. There's no 8 there. What have you done? You have made me miss the obvious. 4, 6, 7. Where can 5 go in that row now? Can't go there, can't go in either of those cells, can't go there, can't go there. This is the 5, this is the 1. There is no 1 here. One is in one of those 2. What is going on? 2, 7. So 8 can be there, there, there. or 8 is there. That can't be an 8. 8 down there. This is not the 8. Whoops, this is not the 8. This is the only place for 8 in the row. That takes 8 out of there. This is a 4, 6 pair. This is 7. This is 8. That being a 7 takes 7 out of there, takes 7 out of there. Now, that has to do something more. That places the 7 in there. The 7 makes that the 1, which makes that the 2, which makes that the 7, which makes that the 8, which makes that the 1, which makes that the 7. The 7 looks like making that 2. This is a 1-7 pair, except that's the 1 and that's the 7. Okay, we're starting to get some traction. This is the 1, this is the 7. This is not 1. This is 2, 4, or 6. This is the only place for 1 left in the column. This is not 2, so this is 2. This is 4 or 6. This is 4, 5, or 6. Okay. This is 2, 4, or 6. This 2 is looking over making that 7. 2, 3. That 8 is making that 4. So that is 2 and that is 8. The 2 makes that 4, which makes that 6, which makes that 2. The 6 looks up making that 4 and that 6, which makes that 4, that 5, and that 6, which makes that 4 and that 6. The 4 makes that 5 and that 4, which makes that 6. That is not 6. We've got a 4, 5. That is 5. That is 4. The 2 looks up making that 3 and that 2. That becomes 3. This is not 3. We're only down to one box now, so hopefully I can resolve it. This is 4, 6. The 6 over here makes that 4. That 6. This has to be the 2, and that is not a 47-minute puzzle. I just forgot to restart the clock again. I've been doing that a lot recently. So that was Classic 13. There was a lot of hidden stuff, particularly in box 5, but even in these rows where you had to, I can't even remember which row it was at the moment, but things like the 3, 4, 6 up here, giving you the 3, 4, 6 triple in row 3. That was very cool, and there was a lot of hidden stuff like that in this grid. And one of the things I like about Ashish's classics is they don't require you to find very complex techniques. They just require you to find those hidden pairs and hidden triples. So they just improve your scanning without requiring you to practice very advanced techniques. I really like that about his just normal classic puzzles. Very, very well designed for that. If you just want to improve your Sudoku skills, give these a shot. So I'm going to stop the video now. I'm actually going to take a break and take some painkillers. For all I know, I will not finish this video until a couple of days from now. But for you, it will just be a couple of seconds before I'm back with Rossini Sudoku number 1. Okay, so several hours have passed, and now it's time for me to try the Rossini Sudoku, which was part of the Enthralling Sudoku pack for March 2022. Actually, there were two. When Ashish does the variants, he does 2 of each of the variants. And I believe he normally tries to do it so you get the slightly easier one before the slightly harder one. And I've grabbed the slightly easier one, but he doesn't always do that. He tends to mix it up a little, so I have no idea what I'm in for with this one. But here are the rules. So normal Sudoku rules apply. In every box, in every row, and in every column, the digits 1 to 9 must be placed without repetition. Then we've got this Rossini rule, which is these arrows outside the grid. And what they mean is in the 3 cells which are closest to the arrow in their respective rows and columns, the digits that appear will be ascending in the order that, or in the direction that the arrow is pointing. Now in this puzzle, that means that the digits will ascend. These 3 digits will ascend in this order, and this order, this order, this order, and this order. So they kind of act as mini thermos. If the arrow was pointing away from the grid, then they would be in the opposite order. But in this particular puzzle, they are pointing all in towards the middle of the grid. All such arrows are marked, which means we can never get an arrow in either direction in any of the other 3 cells. So for example, in these 3 cells could not form a valid arrow in either direction. And with that, this puzzle should be solvable. Let's give it a shot. So, where do we start? Well, there's 5, so we must put 5 in here. We must put 5 in here. We must put 5 in here, and we must put 5 in here. Does that tell us anything? Not really. So we know that you can never put a 9 in any of those cells, and you can never put a 9 in those cells because they see a 9. And the reason you can't put a 9 in any of those cells. And the reason you can't put a 9 in any of those cells is because if you did, you'd need something higher than it here. So 9 is in one of those two. Normal Sudoku, 7 was there and there, so 7 is in one of those two, which actually puts 7 on top of the 5s there. Seven is the same here. 7 sees those, and that 7 looks up. So 7 is there. Similarly, 9 is here, and I can't put 9 in any of those, or I'd have to put something higher. 9 is in one of those two. Excuse me. There's got to be something weird happening with these arrows. I'm not seeing it yet. Nine can't be here. 9 can't be here, so 9 is in one of those two. That can't be a 9. Because if that was a 9, this would have an arrow that could point upwards. This would go 7, 8, 9, and there could be an arrow here. This has to be the 9. Which means this is the 9. 9 here and 9 here puts 9 in one of those two. I don't get the same constraint. Because 9, 6, 7 is not a valid arrow in either direction. This has to be 7 or 8. 6, 7 or 8. It has to be higher than 5. This is a 6, 7 or 8, because if it wasn't a 6, 7 or 8, if this was lower than 5, this would be a valid arrow. Oh, this is interesting. This couldn't be 8 or 9. I was about to point out why this couldn't be 8 or 9. There is a more clear reason why this can't be an 8 or 9. Neither of these can be a 1. If I put a 1 in either of those, whatever I put at the other side is going to form a valid arrow. That can't be a 1. None of those can be a 1. Pardon me. 9 has to go in one of those three, but that's not really a surprise. 9 is in one of those three, also not really a surprise. So 5 and 7 have to go in here. There's something weird happening with these arrows, and I've got to try and figure out what it is. I mean, figuring out what it is why we're here, isn't it? Well, it's why I'm here. Well, 4 is in one of those two cells. That can't be an 8. So that has to be lower than 5. That's 1, 2, 3, or 4. That's not that restrictive. So 8, I can't put 8. Oh, I could put 8 there. So 8 is in one of those cells or there. I can't put it there, and I can't put it that far down there. 7 can't go in here. But I could put 7 in any of those. Oh, I can't see what I'm missing. One has to go in the corners there. I can't put 1 in those cells, or in those cells, or in those cells, or in those, actually, or those cells, or those cells, or those cells, or those cells. Because I'd need something lower than 1. So 1 is in one of those 2. And those 2. Can't put 1 in any of those. So 1 is limited to one of those 2 cells. Which means I can't put 1 in any of those or in any of those. So 1 is now in one of those 3. But not that one. 1 is in one of those 2 cells. Now 1 can't go in those or that one. 1 can't go here now. It can't go here. 1 is in one of those 2. Which takes 1 out of there. This has to be a 1. Now 1 can't go in there. So 1 is in one of those 2, which puts 1 in one of those 3. Now 1 can't be in those. Sorry, 1 is now in this row, and it can't go in those 2. This is a 1, which takes 1 out of there. Now 1 can't go there. This is not a 1. This is a 1. 1 now can't go in any of those. This is a 1, and this is a 4. 1, this is now a 1. This is not a 1. 1 has to go in this row, and it can't go in those, so there'd have to be something lower than it. This is a 1, and I put a 1 in the middle, and I'm left with this X-wing on 1s, which I'm not sure I can resolve, because that's valid. That can't be a 1, because then that would be a valid arrow. That's a 1, that's a 1, that's a 9. That's very cool. Okay, so this does have to be a valid arrow, so that's okay. Now this is a triple, and they have to go in order. So this is 2, 3, and 6. So the order is 2, 3, and 6. This is a triple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. That's not a 5. Two has to go up here. 2 can't go that far down. there's no way 2 is there. That is a 2. So what else have I got? Excuse me, hay fever seems to have kicked in. Hang on, we've got a 5-7 pair in here. These have to be 5 and 7. So this is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's an 8. Which means I can't put an 8 up here. That's not an 8 anymore. So 8 can't go in those two. So 8 is in one of those 3. This is very strange. Two can't go there. 2 can't go in those. So 2 is in one of those 3. This has to be higher. No. Yes, this has to be higher than 7. This is an 8 or a 9. Because if it's lower, then that's a valid arrow. Oh, this is... Let's look at this arrow, maybe? Because this is a quad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, and 9. Now, I can't put 9 in there. So I can't put 8 there, and I can't put 3 there. This is 3, 4, and 4, 8. Now, these can't be 3. Actually, these can't be 3 or 4 because they have to be higher than 5, 6, 7. These are not 3, 4. This is an 8, 9. This is 4. This is 3. So what are these 3? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 8 must be in here. There's no 7 there. There's no 6 there. That is the 8. That's a 6, 7 pair. That's a 9. That is not a 9. It still can't be an 8. So this is a quad now. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 8. Well, there's no 4 in there. There's no 8 there. So this is a 2, 3. So that's forced. This has to be lower than that. So that has to be 3. That has to be 2. There's no 2, 3 there. The 4 resolves that as an 8 and a 4. This is a pair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is 2 and 3. Which makes sense because these have to be 4 and 5, which have to be higher than 2 and 3. This is also a triple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So these are now fully resolved. They're not fully resolved, but whatever this is going to be higher. Whatever this is going to be higher and similar into there. So I can't put the 8 in here. There needs to be an 8 in here. But if these all have to be lower than 5 or 7, this is the 8. So this is not the 8. So I need to put a 6 in this box. And it'll have to go directly under the 7. So this is a 6, 7 pair. Because the 6 has to go here. And those 6s are lining up. So what are these? These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are 2 and 3. So these are 4 and 6. There's a 2, 3 pair. What's this? This is also a 2, 3 pair. Except that one's resolved. 2 and 3. This is a triple now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 9. Those are low to have in here, aren't they? Because this is 3, 6, and 7. I could have a 4 here. Four, 3. So what are these? These are 2, 5, 6, and 7. Well, I can't put a 7 in either of those. I can't put a 2 there. Hang on. So I can't put a 3 there. And I can't put a 4 there. This has to be the 9 because without it, that has to be higher and the minimum there is 6. This has to be the 9. There's no 9 there. 4, hang on, this is a 4, 6 pair. Why did I ever put 6 there? This is the 6. Wait, I made a mistake. I made a huge mistake. So when I filled this out, this 6 makes this 7. I do that all the time. I've mentioned on other videos where I fill out a triple based on a pair I've got and I actually miss something that's already there. So what is this pair? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, and 8. So that's a different proposition. And these are 2, 5, and 7. I'm glad I caught that. And this is less impacted. I still can't have 2 there, which means this can't be 3 because 3 is not higher than that. So that is 8, that is 9. This is 3, this has to be lower than 3, this is 2. This is not 2, these are not 9. And that is fine. Glad I caught the mistake. Otherwise, this would have been a problem. I mean, it kind of forced me to catch the mistake because I instantly got a conflict. So how do I progress? I mean, I've got a 2, 3 pair here, but this is wide open. This... If this is 5, 4... This can't be 5, because if this is 5, this is forced to be 4, and that would be broken. This is 7. This is 5. The 5 makes that 4, which makes that 6. This is not 6. And that did almost nothing. So this is a quad now. Oh, no, it's not. That's an 8. That is not an 8. This is a triple now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 9. Well, that's not a 9. Why did I type 6? I meant to say, I said 5. 4, 5, and 9. So this is the 9. This is a 4, 5 pair. This is a quad. No, it's a quint. Quintuple. That's not so helpful. So what am I missing? Well, let's do the quintuple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So there must be an 8 in here, which I've got from the 8. So that's fine. So that can't be 8. So 8 is in one of those two. Can't be 2. That can't be 2 or 3. That one looks like it can be anything. And this is part of a sextuple. Okay, this is a quadruple up the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this can't be 3. Now I need to have a 6 or 7 in there, but I can't put 7 in those because 7 has to be, this has to be lower than this. This gives me a 4, 6 pair, so that takes 6 out of those. So this gives me a quadruple here, which is 5, 7, 8, 9. So this is 5 or 7, which makes this an 8 and this not an 8. Okay, that's clever, which makes this 9 and this 8. But that doesn't... If this is 5, this is 4... No, that doesn't do it. One of these has to be a 2 or a 3. But three's not limited. Hmm. So there's no negative constraint knocking me out here or here. Oh, it's that one. That can't go 761 or there'd be a valid arrow. That has to go 671. That's a 4. That's not a 4 or a 6. That's a 3. It's not a 3 or a 4 or a 6. That's a 7. That's a 5. That's a 6. That's a 7. That's a 6. That's a 7. There is no 7 in there. That's what I was missing. That's a 6. That's a 4. The 7 is looking down, making that 5 and 7. There's no 3 or 6 there. That's the 2. That's the 3. That's the 2. The 3 looks back, making that 6. The 2 looks over, making that 3 and that 2. And this is now all kind of resolving, isn't it? The 5 looks up, making that 4, that 5, that 4. And now I'm down to the last box, which is 3 and 5. And that, ignore the time I had the puzzle set up and I took a long break. That is Rossini Sudoku number 1 by Ashish Kumar, which was part of the March 2022 Enthralling Sudoku Patreon pack. And thank you again, Ashish, for giving me permission to do the puzzles on the channel and giving them to my few viewers for free. My few viewers, compared to some channels, I am tiny. For free, because it really does help me bring excellent content to my channel. And I really do suggest to my viewers, go check out the Patreon page. As I said, linked below. I linked it. I did a card earlier in the video. Very, very good puzzles. I really like this one. I like the negative constraint and the fact that you needed to find this 671 in order to do it. This is a very interesting variant. It's not just thermo, even though it feels like it. There's more to it. Thermos with negative constraints. Very, very cool. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, everyone who participated in March of the Quads. I know it feels like it ended weeks ago, and it kind of did, but it was only now that I was able to compile all the list of names and get it out, because at time of recording, it only ended for me a few days ago. Yeah, thank you, everyone. It's been a wonderful journey bringing that to you, and getting the emails almost every day from people with new puzzles and providing feedback on what they liked. I did get a few requests to do one of the puzzles as a video, and I will probably do that in the coming days. Yeah, and yeah, go check out Ashish and Kishore's YouTube channel, again linked below. Yeah, very cool stuff and well worth your time. Yeah, thanks everyone. Good luck with your solving.